I'll be honest, I've kind of been slacking when it comes to this Idaho tragedy with the 4 college students who just seemingly went missing. They went to a party and then all of a sudden they got snatched up and nobody could find them for the longest time. And it was just kind of, lingering. It was one of those kind of boiling stories that were just happening under the water. I've seen a lot of reports, especially on New York Post, and that's probably why we're starting here with this one. And people were very interested because, yes, it involves 4 young, attractive people getting caught up and snatched up and seemingly just disappeared. Nobody knew what the heck was actually going on. And then all of a sudden, the police department swoops in. Here, we got our suspect, okay? What do you know about him so far? Well, we'll try and figure out this, because I made reference to this once. I can't even remember what the video was, especially when this story first broke, and that was a long old time ago. And now we finally got some sort of substantive update, because there's been a lot of crying and complaining in very relatable, understandable ways. It's like, my daughter's missing, my son's missing, and it's like, yeah, I understand. It's just not a lot for me to comment on. That's for other people to talk about. They want to talk about that true crime shit. I don't really care all that much. But since we have a suspect, might as well add my two cents. Idaho student's dad reportedly sees link between slain daughter and a Bryan Kohberger. And who is Bryan Kohberger? I do believe he is the suspect. Steve Goncalves, father of 21-year-old Kaylee Goncalves, said he was beginning to see links between Bryan Kohberger, 28, and his daughter, according to ABC News. He said he wasn't ready to discuss the connections and said no one in his family recognized the suspect. Okay, weird. Now, that there's a person and a name that someone can specifically look for and see if there's any connections in any way. So they're trying to figure it out. The family's attorney, Shannon Gray, told ABC News Goncalves vowed in court when Kohberger is returned to Idaho to face murder charges in the November 13th deaths of Kaylee and Madison Mogan, 21, Xana Kernoodle, funny name, but tragic situation, obviously, 20, and Ethan Chapin, 20. This guy's going to have to look me in the eyes multiple times, and I'm going to look for the truth. That's really what I'm going to be looking for, Steve Goncalves said. Okay, yeah, and that's a picture. If you've been looking at any news sites, okay, you've probably seen that very frame dozens of times over the past month and a half, 6 weeks or so. And it's sad. It's sad. They were going to school, okay, for theoretically good careers. It was a situation where party goes bad, cute girls get snatched up. It's a very enticing story, but nothing to really go on, and it seemed to be going cold for a long time. Until, of course, they got this handsome fellow right there. Holy! Kohberger was arrested Friday in Pennsylvania, was attending a graduate program in Washington State University, about 10 miles away from the University of Idaho campus. So, who the fuck is this guy? Who the fuck is this guy? Everything we know about Idaho murder suspect Bryan Kohberger. I know a couple of things, but let's see if we can fill in the gaps. More details have emerged about Bryan Kohberger, the man suspected of killing 4 University of Idaho students, including reports that he was studying for a PhD in criminology. Yeah, he was just trying to put his thesis to work. It's like, can I snatch up 4 random people from a sorority party only to see what acid they can best be dissolved in? I'm just wondering. I just want to put this in practice before I write up something on it. And that he underwent a personality shift in high school that his friends found troubling. Dun, dun, dun. What is he, a right-wing radical? Oh man, not quite. Authorities said Kohberger was arrested early Friday morning by Pennsylvania State Police and the assistance of other law enforcement agencies at a home in Albrightsville, Pennsylvania, around 2,500 miles away from the scene of the crime. It's pretty significant to find one fucking guy. I guess that's why it took him about 6 weeks in order to find anybody. Kohberger has been charged with 4 counts of first-degree murder and felony burglary in the November 13th slayings of Kaylee Goncalves, 21, Madison Mogan, 21, Xana Kernoodle, still funny to say, 20, and Ethan Chapin, 20, who were all stabbed to death. Fucking Christ, dude. Like, there's something to say about somebody getting shot or something like that. It's not quite as personal as going up front and, shanking them a couple of times. That takes a specifically sick individual. The victims' bodies were found on November 13th in their beds in their off-campus home in Moscow, Idaho. with the grisly scene sending a shockwave through the small college town and then also, the world. Fears of a repeat attack prompted nearly half of the University of Idaho's over 11,000 students to switch to online classes and leave the city. Yeah, but then it was also just kind of a random opportunity for people to duck out of going to class. But okay, whatever. And given the fact that 60% of college enrollees are girls at this point, yeah, it makes sense. The case, which police described as very complex and extensive, initially appeared to mystify law enforcement. Yeah, exactly. Like, this story popped up and then it just kind of went away. Every once in a while, you'd see a story about it, and it was one of those things that was kept in the news cycle. And then all of a sudden, past Friday, we got a suspect and we're charging him. Holy! This is the type of law enforcement that's good law enforcement, to keep it a buck. The case, which police described as very complex and extensive, initially appeared to mystify law enforcement, though officials have now said they were guarded in their release of information so as to not alert the suspect to the investigator's process. All right, then. This was a very complex and extensive case. We had developed a clear picture over time, and we stand assured that the work is not done. This has just started. Well, if you've already charged him, I would say a significant amount, if not all of the work has already been done in this one. It's just up to the prosecutors now. James Fry, Moscow will never give in. Police chief told reporters at a press conference Friday. Sorry, it's one of the best Sabaton songs. Fry added that investigators are still looking for all the evidence, including the murder weapon. They don't have the murder weapon yet, but they got the suspect, and they're charging him? Okay. Kohberger is being held without bond in Pennsylvania, where he's awaiting extradition to Idaho. Probably not that difficult. Aletta County prosecutor Bill Thompson said investigators believe Kohberger broke into the student's home with the intent to commit murder. Why them, though? Thompson added, this is not the end of the investigation, but a new beginning. Asking the public to come forward with tips to help investigators and the courts to understand fully everything there is to know and not talk about not only the individual, but what happened and why. But you have enough to go on to snatch this guy up. Kohberger is a PhD student in the Department of Criminal Justice and Criminology at Washington State University, which is a brief drive across the state line. Oh my God, he committed this he committed this crime by crossing state lines, but at least he didn't use a gun. Graduated from Northampton Community College in Pennsylvania, and then decided to go to Washington. Whatever, bro. With an associate of arts degree. So yeah, you got a psych degree in 2018. College spokesperson Mia Rossi Amarino said DeSales University in Pennsylvania said that he received a bachelor's degree in 2020, completed graduate studies in June of 2022. Ben Roberts, a graduate student at Washington State University's Department of CJ and Criminology, told the Associated Press that Kohberger seemed super awkward. Well, you're doing CJ in criminology. If he's going to be working inside of a lab, you kind of want somebody that's got a touch of the tism. Just saying. And was always looking for a way to fit in. Okay, so a creepy loner with a knife fetish. All right, then. Roberts said he had several classes with Kohberger and described him as wanting to appear academic. How somebody in a PhD class that wants to seem smarter than they actually are, color me surprised. One thing he would always do, almost without fail, was find the most complicated way to explain something. Listen, I want to seem like the smartest person in the room, and I just need to speak in hyperbolic language so all you stupid people think that I'm an authority on the subject. Fucking yuck. Fellow student B.K. Norton, B.K. Bomber, told the New York Post that Kohberger seemed smart and... Oh, no, see, it worked on this dude. Okay, was particularly interested in forensic psychology. Norton noted that when the subject of murders came up in class, the table that he was sitting at rose 4 inches. Recalled Kohberger remaining quiet and deadpan. I'm still in shock. I didn't think Bryan was capable of this, Norton told the outlet. So, okay, maybe Ben Roberts has a touch of the tism as well. It's like, wow, I don't know, that guy, he seemed weird, but then everybody else found him fine? Like, what are we talking about? Justin Williams, a 34-year-old employee at Washington State University who lives in an adjacent building to Kohberger, told Fox News that he rarely saw the suspected killer. Well, if he's in the PhD program, he's probably pretty busy, okay? Go check his mail. That was about it. Other than that, I've only seen him like twice the whole time, and I've lived here. I lived here. This is my community since July 2021, Williams said, who added that Kohberger's behavior seemed normal. He saw nothing unusual in the way that the accused murderer carried himself. Yeah, you only see him twice across like a 2-year period. Okay, it's like, yeah, it seemed, fine, I guess. Andrew Chua, a graduate student who lives at the Washington State University housing complex where Kohberger lives, told the outlet that he hadn't noticed anything unusual at all in the weeks since the slayings took place. All right then. Now let's see. Tell me about your childhood. Kohberger's former high school friend told the Daily Beast that the suspected killer was a slightly overweight, down-to-earth teen during his junior year. Slightly overweight. Bro, that facial structure right there tells me that brother turned it around, I guess. Okay, in their junior year, and then he got lean and developed an aggressive personality. Oh my god, he started to lift. That's some of that toxic masculinity on display. Nick McLaughlin of Pleasant Not So whenever Kohberger was around, started taking boxing lessons and started picking fights. He always wanted to fight somebody. He was bullying people. And then he decided to go into a post-secondary education where he could figure out how to legally get away with, or at least convincingly get away with his crimes. Unfortunately, must have skipped the how to get away with murder class. Started taking boxing lessons, started picking fights. Well, that's normally not what happens unless he got rejected from his local boxing gym. Normally you get taught how to control and mitigate your rage by working it out at the gym. He always wanted to fight somebody. He was a bully. He was bullying people. We started cutting him off from our friend group because he was 100% a different person. Maybe you're a bitch and you needed some bullying. McLaughlin told the outlet, adding the group was baffled by Kohberger's personality shift. Yeah, he used to be the fat little jolly kid until he decided to shed the weight, and then all he wanted to do was fucking fight. I can't believe it. Following the murders, Latah County Coroner Kathy Maboot described the slayings as an ambush and said that they appeared to had been personal. With each victim, he stabbed a number of times. Has to be somebody that's pretty angry in order to stab 4 people to death. Yeah, no, exactly. Well, thanks for coming to that fucking conclusion. But one final thing that we know about this Kohberger cat is that he was obsessively vegan as a teen and looked drugged out at school. Interesting. Kohberger was taken into custody by the Pennsylvania State Police at his home in Albrightsville, a small town located in the heart of the Poconos Mountains, more than 2,000 miles away from the gruesome killings. Get this stupid. I hate those autoplay videos on Daily Mail, you motherfuckers, man. Police say DNA evidence links Kohberger to the scene. Kohberger was a PhD student. Friday's arrest, first major break in the case. Extradition is, Idaho. We know all that stuff. There's that nice little visual representation of how far away this motherfucker was. But then it's also not terribly obvious that he was also going to school right next to where the murders took place. So Kohberger is a registered libertarian. Oof, libertarians down bad on that one. Although it does not appear that he had any active social media profiles at the time of his arrest. Weird. Relative told New York Post Kohberger is OCD about his eating habits and forced his family to buy new pots. Fucker, if you want your family to cook in different pots, fucking buy them yourself, you weirdo. But here I am, critiquing the eating habits of a fucking 4 times over murderer. Had never been used to cook meat. To buy new pots that have never been used to cook meat. It was above and beyond being vegan. Oh my god. No, and again, oh god, so you got libertarians and you got vegans down bad. His aunt and uncle had to buy new pots and pans because he would eat. Wait a minute. He comes from a broken home. This is literally everything all wrapped into one. Seemingly very OCD, the woman said during a press conference on Friday. Authorities confirmed that a white Hyundai Elantra was discovered in the search, and the sources saying it was towed from outside Kohberger's home. So we got a vegan Lulbert allegedly shanking and killing 4 different college students. Very interesting. Make sure to get her in the frame. It's all very cute. It's a very sad situation, and it's very strange. situation, all things considered, but until the evidence starts to mound up, these are still, at the end of the day, just allegations and speculations. It's a bunch of people saying that, yeah, he was weird retrospect, and you're going to get that from fucking everybody. So it'll be interesting. This is probably not going to be going to trial until maybe the end of the year, probably even later than that. But yeah, don't expect like a beat by beat coverage on this. I'll pay attention to it, but I guess vegans finally get their representation. It's been a minute since they've had a mass murderer on their hands, okay? Hitler was about 80 years ago at this point, so I guess you guys need a new representative. So with all that said, thank you all very much for the gift of your time. I've been Don Consuelo. I want you to follow your gut and get after it. Take care, everyone.